So we're live from a hotel lobby.
This hotel is so special because it was only launched around 2 weeks ago, so it's really fresh.
Your hotel was launched 2 weeks ago.
Not my hotel. I was just saying before, do you like this? I'll give it to you.
I know, how good's that? I meet you and then you're like, hey, you have a hotel.
You have a hotel.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The launch was fun. Nassim and Nassim was on your show a few weeks ago as well.
Yes.
We came to the opening together and then did like a small tour of the rooms and the en-suites.
Of this hotel?
Yeah, because it was an opening party, so they were like inviting people to join the tour groups.
No kidding.
Yeah,
There you
fun.
go. And you have artwork here. So your artwork, if you could describe it, how would you describe it?
This specific series of works is called Acts of Holding Dance, and I kind of developed it out of a residency with the Center for Projection Art in 2020. And whilst I was making it, I was reading some academic research papers about dance and how the embodied choreography and architecture of dance can be conveyed through digital mediums. And so I was reading specifically a text from Anna MacDonald and also Andre Bolapecki, who both speak of dance as a process of realizing mourning and realizing things like composition of choreography can never exist in the same kind of fashion. And so therefore...
Well, what do you mean?
Well, so for example, if you choreograph a work, it can never really truly come back to the same points of performance because every day you're using live humans which are going to be temperamental to change and maybe even their performances will be affected by weather or something. And so the work and the the visual finale of the work can never really be experienced the same 2 nights in a row or in different settings. So that kind of inspired me to think about how I could use digital editing softwares to kind of portray dance as a thing that leaves a history behind. And so I started with using this creative coding, I guess like skit or sketch.
Yeah, okay.
Just to like see what would happen if dance was interpolated with time, and then this effect came out.
If dance was interpolated with time, what do you mean?
Yeah, so what you see is a dancer dancing and improvising, but what they have done before is captured in a script-like manner, so it becomes, I guess, a documentation of the dance that has passed.
Yeah. And for like a visual representation, how I just think of that for anybody that hasn't like seen it, is like when you're playing Guitar Hero and then you go, you like have to hold down a key. It's like that, but it's like all the notes of like all the movements are all going down.
Yeah. And it's like kind of a trap as well because as soon as your like body members touch the floor, it's recorded. And so it could be a challenge to not have parts of yourself recorded.
So how do you actually go about choosing like what kind of dances do you want? And do you like, are you in charge of like the choreography of how they dance or is it like very freestyle collaboration with these people?
I guess like this is an entry point to a really exciting boulder of this story was that the next development of this series of works that I've made featured quite a lot of break dances, and then it kind of kept my interest to the point where I've finished a dissertation about how we can represent dance through urban media interventions, and especially breakdance because I found a fascination with using breakdance and breakdancers because it shared a commonality with urban media art in the sense that breakdancers needed to find an appropriate public space to use as their own. And so they were practicing this craft and this hyper-individualized craft, which is breakdancing, in certain locations that created a sense of placemaking in the neighborhoods that these dance styles were practiced in. And that's the exact same with urban screens, because they have a quality that creates an ability to make a sense of place within a neighborhood. And you think of things like Times Square, and you know that as a very clear place.
Because it's got all the urban screens, like the outdoor signage screens.
Yeah, and you also think of maybe like Shinjuku and the big crossing. Like these are all tourist points to create a sense of place and a sense of like unified identity. And so kind of putting these two elements together. One is that breakdance is hyperlocal, and even learning breakdance occurs from teacher to student. And so, very much so, certain cities develop certain styles of dance, which is why whenever I get commissioned to do projections in certain cities, I'll try to insist on them considering using their local community of breakdancers. So, for example, I had 2 projects last year in September, and it was nice that they happened all together, so I can do just one trip to the US and come back. But they both were very much both the city councils of like Cincinnati and Boston were very interested in commissioning and showcasing their own breakdancers, so they pointed me at a community of dancers that I then used and filmed. Used in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah, you utilize their skill.
Yeah.
And how did you even get into breakdance? Like, why?
Oh, it was
Why
because
breakdancing?
so one day I was at a discussion also about dance, or like a lecture talk series, and I was introduced to someone called Dr. Rachel Gunn, and she's going to be
Rachel. You're a gun.
Yeah. She's going to be representing Australia for the 2024 Australian breakdance team. So it's going to be so exciting. And also she's a doctor, so she's Dr. Gunn.
She's a Dr. Gun that dances.
Yeah.
What?
Spins like a pistol. But yeah, she was the person who introduced me to breakdance. And I was always so fascinated by the ways that breakdancers move, and also very attracted to the individuality of the actions. So I kind of just pursued first her community of breakdancers, and they were really, really, I guess, gracious to like welcome me into the community and also teach me some foundation steps. But I also used them
As in you started to learn how to breakdance yourself?
very, very, very minimally. So I'm very heavily ballet trained and influenced, and then that moved on to contemporary. So I feel like I'm still too long or like too uncoordinated for it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, by the way, I should probably introduce who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're listening to Watch Your Voyage, and we have shout-outs to Nassim for connecting us. Wendy, last name Yu.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Why you? And what's your socials?
It's very stupid, but it's on Instagram. It's Wendell's Mind Blowers, because it's a Rick and Morty quote. But I should really.
Dude, I
change
actually
that.
love Rick and Morty.
Well, let's hope the world still loves it, because
I think
my
so.
name is associated with an inside joke from that TV show.
It's a good way to live life. I mean, that's what. What's her name? The singer. Bad. I'm a bad. No. You know the song?
No.
Well, she's huge. Billy.
What's her Instagram?
It was like something avocado, and then she changed it. Billie Eilish. That's who it is. You know Billie Eilish?
Yeah.
Yeah. She used to have it like something avocado for like ages, and then her, like I guess managers and stuff like that were like, "You've got to change it to your name. You're like a super sensational, like across the world rock star girl."
Not me.
Not yet.
But yeah, I should change it. It's just the thing is like, Wendy Yu is a very common name, so it's like Wendy Yu Projections taken, Wendy Yu Art Dance Media Art is taken. Everything is taken.
Fair. Well, I don't think Wendy Yu Projections is the way.
You don't
That
think
sounds
so?
like Wendy Yu. Welcome to the wonderful world of Wendy Yu Projections.
It's all one.
Just like going across one of those LED like sign screens. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so you're a ballet dancer yourself, and have you been doing that like your whole life, like since a little one?
Well, I did kiddie ballet. I guess that's kind of it. But there was a point where I was going to choose to either do full-time ballet school training or finish high school, and then my parents, being very Asian parents, were like, you have to finish high school, which at the time was really annoying for me. But afterwards, I was very, very happy with that.
So you didn't get a B+, you were getting A's, so they allowed you to stay.
Just finishing high school, it was like, wow. Yeah. So after that, I came and did university degree at University of Melbourne.
Yeah, like the art school.
Yeah, and then I just finished a master's in interaction design and media art.
What's interaction design?
Well, that can be a really broad subject. Like they kind of give you starters to do more research and development in like front-end web development or UX UI design or experience design,
Yeah.
even product design. But it's a very, I guess, good course if you're not.
I'm just going to put this on the table just so then I can keep track of the time.
Okay.
And then, because every about 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, I just got to restart that camera. That one.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So if I stand up and go do that, it's like I'm not just walking away from you and being like, I'm done. You're like, what are you doing?
Don't leave.
But okay, cool. So you did your user experience and stuff like that, and did you like make websites and stuff like that as a part of that, or?
Currently
Or
doing
apps?
that as like my day job. I have a 9 to 5 day job at a software development company called Architecta.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing at that company, one project has been, we commissioned some dancers to come into the space and we got them to dance to a certain score. And for dance and choreography, making scores are kind of invitations for the dancer to, I guess, like react to a prompt or like to just interpret a prompt. But we gave these dancers a few scores and we recorded their movements, and now I have their movements that I can now motion capture into the 3D landscape and using their motions to do some 3D design. And the 3D design is going to need to be like communicating about how dance can be a communicator, or the need for data storage, or like the need for backup and tracing histories.
Wait, you lost me.
That's okay, I expected that.
What do you mean? Like dance is a data storage? What?
Yeah, so we can, I guess, communicate that data is something that needs storage systems through dance and through manipulated dance in a 3D environment.
Because it's digital?
Well, there's a little bit of abstract 3D design in the mix. We'll get the dancer's movements and then design it in a 3D way, like the dancer is emitting particles, or it's like a constant shedding of something that then needs like a narrative of system to back up these data points.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'll show you something.
Yeah, please. It sounds...
It's confusing,
Yeah,
but
it is a little confusing.
yeah, the software development company that I work for is really, really, really great because they do have they have a really key attention or desire to integrate tech and art in a kind of like unified space. Like if it's going to be making 3D works for their websites or 3D works that get developed into artifacts and products or something.
Artifacts like dinosaurs?
Yeah, you can 3D print something and that can become a token of the company, something like that.
Oh, cool. So you work in 3D printing as well?
Well,
Or you like making the renders so then people can 3D print things?
yeah, I can do that.
Did you do all the cool?
Not really. It's just obsessive, right? Like you get really obsessed with stuff that you're interested to. So.
And you just love making like shapes and patterns and stuff like that on the computer.
It's nice to look at.
Are we gonna find a news article about you making 3D rendered guns?
I don't think anyone would check me. They'll be like, "Oh, she's so cute. She's innocent. Let her go."
Little does you know, she has a militia of weapons and she's been selling them on the black market.
Yes. Yeah.
But
That's
don't quote her.
Actually an idea. May I tell you off podcast because I don't want anyone to steal my idea, but something along those lines.
A fully automatic weapon. Or are we getting into rocket launch territory?
Maybe. Yeah.
So what's like so have you 3D rendered a bunch of things yourself and like made things as a part of that?
Mostly they've only been video outputs at the moment, but then video outputs, amazingly, they can be commercialized and they can be sold as NFTs or as acquired, like this hotel has done, to be like lobby space artworks, or I feel like I did something recently, but yeah, they can even be sold as prints as well.
Oh yeah, and you like take a still of it.
Yeah. So there was a project that I was working on for, it's a festival called Blink Cincinnati, and Well, they suggested that we produce 50 stills of this work as an NFT and then, giving it to the sponsors that supported the festival.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sweet. And tell me about NFTs. Like, what do you see as the kind of, I guess, the breakthrough technology of it?
Well, it's just like how any kind of art is traded, I guess. It's nice that NFTs offer itself as a solution for people to collect and trade video arts like they would collect and trade stills.
Yeah, fair enough. Very simply put.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that like royalties are inbuilt into it. So from the financial perspective, I know that Snoop Dogg, he has actually got his catalog and essentially like backed it up all onto NFT. So then he can have his music go out through the NFT technology, I believe.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he like owns all the masters for everything now as a
Wow.
part of that. I'm not exactly sure on what he's done, but it sounds like he is made us artists like completely own their stuff. So it's like instead of, I don't know, you sell like 50 pieces of your artwork and then somebody goes, oh, let's resell it all and have like a show, but then you're not invited and you don't get any money for it, but it's like all your content creation. Then it's like, oh, I'm left
Yeah.
out. That can't happen anymore.
Yeah. So NFTs do offer a great solution in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then back to like dance. I guess why do you love it?
Well, I so have been dancing for so long, but then wanting to make choreographic works in Australia at the moment is very depressing because you have to put in so much effort to get a work, and even to get a decent work, but that might only have a showing season of maybe 3 days. So it's a lot of work for very minimal reward at the moment in the current Australian landscape. So what's happening at the moment, it's an effect called the minusculization of dance, because if you don't have so much funding to even hire other professionally trained dancers to be in your works, human resources, they would be the bulk of the budget. And so if you're discouraged or if you're unable to hire a lot of dancers, what you're going to do is you're going to minusculize it to a point where you just ask yourself, like, I'm just going to make a solo work because that's easiest and I can have rehearsals whenever I want. But it does create more and more artifacts of dance choreographic works at the moment that are just very like solo.
Yeah. Oh, beauty. And then in terms of like what other types of art have you created?
So mostly it has been video art, and I'll also, I guess, at the moment I'm expanding into the realm of like 3D art for commercial purposes. So, for example, selling like an instance of 3D art for lobby experiences,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, beauty.
Yeah.
And in terms of like you were saying before, you were like referencing these people and their ideas of, I guess, the uniqueness of every single body movement and all that. What are some of the other like philosophies behind like how you even think about your work?
Yeah. Again, going back to using breakdancers and how breakdance has come from a history where it was an effective tool to mitigate street violence and gang violence. But how it's really cool and really important is that breakdance has typically been segregated and like turned away from traditional places of dance practice, such as like studios or even, theaters and such. And so by putting instances of breakdance and representing real communities of breakdance in public areas and in areas where dance can be broadcasted to a greater and more diverse crowd of audience, that's really exciting because it's almost like a reclaiming of city spaces, because these dancers developed their style as a response to the spaces that they were allowed to practice in. And so putting it up in a projection is just exciting to really claim that space and create a unified ownership of the city for the dancers.
That is lit. When you were saying that, it just made me think of how on the subways in New York City, that you have the dancers that like will use all the poles and do flips and stuff like that on the trains as a part of like this just like impromptu busking
Yeah.
that they do, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And also, I just, when I did 2 projects last year, and really coincidentally, both projects featured and were commissioned to have breakdancers, but both of the projects were also projected onto the Federal Reserve Bank buildings of those cities. So then again, breakdancers on Federal Reserve buildings, it's creating such, I guess, like an exciting and glorifying moment for breakdancers by elevating what they look like and really showing these communities on a large scale.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. I mean, like you wouldn't imagine in the 80s when breakdancers and the origins of hip hop and like graffiti, vandalism and all that, and graffiti art is now on the Federal Reserve building. I don't know if that's a sign of progress or a sign of like how far America's fallen in terms, because obviously it's a beautiful art form.
Yeah, then again as well, like for my research dissertation, I was thinking as well, like what happens in this sense, like are you kind of just commodifying the beauty that is breakdance? Because even places like Louis Vuitton and recently like Calvin Klein are using breakdancers to sell their products, and it is like a growing trend in the popularity of breakdance. So because the breakdance will debut in the 2024 Olympics, there has been research papers published about how, because of this gamification of breakdance, teachers are now teaching their students how to win, and how to win is by, I guess, like participating mostly and learning exciting like power moves.
Shout out to the hotel. They've been drinking.
Power moves, like instead of things that maybe aren't as exciting, like footwork.
Yeah, okay. So instead of like as an expression of, I guess, emotion and feeling, it's like, all right, here's how we can stun the crowd.
Yeah, because you win a cipher by measuring the reaction of the audience around you, and also like disses and how
you diss.
Like the break.
You diss and breakdancing.
Yeah.
As in like is that in the version of like when you see it in a movie and they're like da 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 and they like outperform you and then the next person goes and like da 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 da.
Yeah.
How do you diss though? Like what's an act of dissing in a breakdance?
Well, creativity is so integral to breakdancing, and teachers will teach learners of breakdance to not just copy a movement but put your own taste upon it. And so you diss in breakdance by producing more like ingenious or creative or unique movement patterns, or even like freezes and
What's
ways.
a freeze?
Freeze is when you're in a set and then the breakdancer will like maybe do a pose just to accent time, like you do.
Oh, so you're like upside down, you're like da da, and then you like hold it, and then you like go quick out of it and do something else that's like in a completely different, I guess, like position of your body.
Yeah, that's the freeze, and it is used to accent the music, because hip hop and breakdance, well, the music and rap and rhythm and blues, those exist all in like the same cauldron of generation.
Do you love hip hop as well then?
Well, I kind of don't really, I don't know. I feel like I'm not able to say because I look like this. I feel like people will say, you don't understand hip hop.
What are you talking about? You can understand hip hop.
Well, I like it.
I love hip hop.
That's great. But
it's like my favorite genre.
Oh, that's exciting.
I'm not going to be mad about that. I love it.
They'll be like, you don't understand hip hop. So I just want to keep my head low.
Okay, but you do love hip hop.
Yeah.
Who do you listen to? Who do you like your favorites?
No, it's okay. We don't know.
Okay.
I feel like
you don't want to talk about your favorite hip hop artist?
Maybe.
Okay, that's all good. What about in like breakdancing world? Like, have you gone to like, I don't know, world champions?
Well, I've
events?
been to. There's something that's run annually called the Red Bull BC One, and it's funded by Red Bull. And I've been to a few of those.
Is that in Canada, BC?
No, Red Bull stands for.
Yeah, I know Red Bull. Oh, BC stands for breaking what?
Am I getting it right? It's a breakdance competition. It's BC One.
Sounds right.
Yeah, it's like the F1, which is happening very soon in Melbourne, and it's
No
exciting
kidding.
too.
Does it happen in like big warehouses or?
The F1, or the Red Bull BC One.
The Red Bull BC one.
In venues, like there was one that was maybe in like church.
In a church.
Yeah.
That's lit.
It's fun.
That is fun. And have you like been getting into it more?
Well, I'll support my friends who are entering these battles, but I'm not at a point where I can do it myself.
Dude, you're a little badass.
No.
It's like unexpected as fuck.
No, I really can't. You know
Can
what?
you do the thing where you like hold your body up and you like go spin your legs around and like.
I have too little upper body strength. I'll be like,
So you just spin it on your head.
yeah. Oh, my hair. Yeah.
Oh, cool. What other kinds of art are you, like, even in this digital style, are you, like, how do you even go about planning your work?
Like planning making them or planning.
Or like just like a collection. Are you like, hey, I've written it all down, I figured it all out and stuff like that? Or are you like, it's very much like one piece of it at a time?
Yeah. Depends on the commission. Sometimes they'll give you a pixel map and they'll say like, we just have this building, can you work around it? And so in that case, if you have the pixel map, you can create an animation from that and you basically create a work for the building itself. And so that is just like becomes a hyperlocal piece for that building. But in other instances in commissions, sometimes they're just like, I just want like a horizontal or like a vertical video, and then you just do that and give it to them. It depends on whether the project wants the projection work to be mapped or not, and like mapped to fit the stencil of a live building or just pasted onto, I guess, like a blank side of a wall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so both systems, depending on what the commission is like, will determine how the work is made. But it's going to be exciting because I told you before that I think my next one is going to be at Illuminate Adelaide in July. And for one of those, I'm submitting 2 pieces. One piece is just going to be a rendition of the previously made work, and the other one is going to be a premiere, and it's going to need to be animated in, I guess, it's going to need to feature a story.
Cool. Like a story as in you have, like, what kind of story?
Well,
what kind of story are you telling in a dance?
Okay,
Because I haven't seen heaps of your work, right? I was just told about Nassim. Yeah. Nassim told me about you last night. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So I've seen like your style, but I haven't seen like heaps of it.
Yeah, that's okay. This is exciting because projection, and this is a quote by someone who works at the Center for Projection Art, Jay. His theory is that projection becomes the unifying Promethean light that early humans would gather around to tell stories, and so projection needs to act like a fire for early humans to congregate around. And so in that sense, designing for public spaces is going to need to, in my opinion, embrace the fact that it's not going to be made for like a postmodern lens. It needs to be very much legible to pedestrian viewers, and how you make a projection piece legible is that you invite them through storytelling, and storytelling through like animation, or even just showing the like very organic nature of dance to people is enough to be legible.
So what kind of story would you be telling?
Oh yeah, I haven't forgotten. This one, I haven't actually made it yet, so I'm going to be excited, or I am excited to sort of like construct the narrative that I want to follow for this new piece that I'm making. But for the works that you've seen and the one that's in this hotel, the story behind this one is really just to show people what dance leaves behind and what movements are produced by dancers that I kind of recorded in the history of performing this segment of dance.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that. Also, let's quickly take a break and get that bottle of wine.
Okay.
We'll talk about dance. I love dancing. My friend Shabani, who, by the time people hear this, he was on like one of the more recent podcasts, and he's like a little creative director for like, just creatives. He'll put on these events that just is like an amalgamation of all these different creative disciplines, and you have this like really good time, essentially. And he had this one dancer that was like ballet influence and stuff like that, and just you forget, because like dance isn't a big part of our like regular everyday like art consumption, right? Or like, music is a regular one. TV shows is now a regular one, but like dance used to be way more regular because we'd go out to like events and theaters and stuff like that. And it just really reconnected me with just how powerful movement is, because I literally was like this close to crying, and like I don't really do that.
This close? Why didn't you cry?
Probably just, I don't even know. I just don't really cry.
Oh, that's okay.
It just doesn't come out. Although, I tell you what, World War movies, war movies get me.
Oh.
I will cry to a good war movie.
Are you more like emotional after drinking?
No, I mean,
drinking and a war movie, and then you'll be like,
I haven't actually tried that combo, funnily enough. But Unbroken, have you seen Unbroken?
Saw the trailers. I haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it.
Okay.
It's wild. Like, the most phenomenal story of a dude that is in like a Japanese concentration camp and then is unbroken.
Wow. Just like the title suggests.
Just like the title suggests. But I don't know, it's cool because he gets put through a lot and he's like, keeps rising up, but he keeps getting put down.
Oh my gosh.
And he like holds his spirit.
Oh.
It's wild.
That's.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Shout out to the war. People did their lives and, we can be here.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, no, it's just crazy.
So crazy.
So many things.
So crazy.
So crazy.
So crazy. All right. So in terms of like the type of story that you can tell is obviously pretty simple, not in a bad way, but like simple of idea of a narrative.
Yeah.
So what other kind of ideas have you had float in your head that you may or may not create that you could see actually being able to be interpreted into your style?
Yeah, really, really cool. I have been making hypothetical, like hyperreal renders of the works that I have in my mind. So I'm really, really wanting to move into anamorphic design, which is when you get a 3D character. You might do some dancing and then apply your dancing to this 3D character, but then make the 3D character look as if they're extending beyond a boundary within the projection screen. So
you mean like the 3D thing, like the huge 3D like posters and stuff? Yeah, please come. The wine is showing up. What's up?
Thank you.
It's cool. Normally I don't have like a person like bringing wine during a podcast because I'm in like a little studio. So this is quite nice. Yeah, so in terms of the types of stories that you've been sketching, for lack of a better term.
Oh yeah, sketching is good.
Yeah.
Good term to do because it all starts off from sketching as well because when designing you do have to really, really take into consideration the perspective that it's going to be viewed from. So design it for maximum experience and design the right thing and then design the thing right.
Thank you, Sophie. Yeah, we'll play card. Excellent. Thank you.
It can't boast
Cheers.
about like having a free drink.
No, we can't boast about having a free drink. They're like, no, give us that money. But she did it in a very cute way. Very nice.
So cute.
Shout out to Sophie. The random bartender lady. Yeah, so the sketches you've been playing with, like what kind of ideas? Because I'm just curious about what kind of stories you could even like think of telling.
Yeah. So I'm not really a person that daydreams a lot. I'm kind of very much like impulsive on it in construction. You know Tinkerbell and like that story of like Neverland fairies and they get sorted into factions, like you're a woodworker and you're like a winter fairy, you're a summer fairy and stuff like that.
Are you talking about Hunger Games?
No. But anyways.
Like what Tinkerbell's story is.
It's in
like Tinkerbell, like as in Peter Pan Tinkerbell.
Yeah, it's an analogy. So like, people are very like love to tinker. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'll always start off with a sketch. But the stories that I really want to be saying is like again, it has to appeal to like a basic human understanding of the self. And if we go into like philosophy of frontality and what it is to perform, then we can only assume that the character is only an embodiment of a known human emotion and entity. And so don't make it too complicated.
No, it's good.
Yeah. And so when designing, I'm currently designing the storyline. I'm still fleshing it out, but then I guess my design process is basically, it's kind of like just animation as well, just like frame by frame, like how this story is going to move into the other story, but then keeping in mind designing it so that the motion feels organic. And, like even just watching something visually that's moving, you can kind of empathize towards whether the movement feels organic or not. So just in animation, kind of holding on to those values and constructing this narrative.
Oh, we got the bucket as well. How good.
Thank you so much.
You're all good. Thank you.
Is that Burberry?
No. It's actually this wallet with a tagger on it. I got it on my 21st birthday for myself from Gucci in New York on Fifth Avenue.
Wow.
I was like, yeah.
Wow.
Felt like a badass. I was like, I'm buying Gucci wallet.
In New York.
In
Oh my
New
gosh.
York. Yeah,
you
well, I studied there.
Wow, you studied there? What
Yeah. I did like a study abroad.
That's so funny. Well, not funny, but that's so cool.
That's hilarious.
You're hilarious. That's amazing. Yeah, what is your history, or like, did you still go back there?
No, I want to. I have
Yeah.
two of my cousins actually work for like JP Morgan type banks, doing like mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that. So they're full like finance bros. So I do want to go back and like celebrate their next birthday. And now that the world's like open back up, there's a possibility to do so.
That's so exciting. I love New York, man.
You been?
So exciting. Well, I was really lucky last year. I went to New York twice for two different commissions, and so that was really exciting.
What kind of commissions?
Oh, the first commission that I was able to get, it was in New York in February 2022, and it was to design some projections to market the launch of the Harden Volume 6 sneakers.
What are those?
James Harden, the NBA basketball player, he is a sponsored athlete by Adidas, and so Adidas sponsored me to do a projection installation featuring him as an iconic NBA player.
That's sick.
It was fun.
And what did you do for it? Was it like him?
I filmed him in a studio, and then the premise of this brief was that we needed to, I guess, like portray James Harden as an iconic and legendary player. So he was doing all of his signature steps, you know, like the Euro, the step back and everything. And so I kind of used his movement and again, like exaggerated his movement through digital design, and then projected that around Barclays Center when the Nets were playing
Like in the game?
the Knicks. Yeah. Oh, not in the game, but around the game, around the center.
That's sick.
It was fun, and plus it was Adidas as well, and it was in New York.
How did that even come about?
Instagram.
What, they sent you a DMM? DM.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
DMM.
Yeah, so I received first a DM message from the global brand manager for Adidas basketball, and then it obviously does look really sketchy. And then he was like, so I sent an email, and then, you know, it's okay. After a few LinkedIn stalks, you find out he is actually the global marketing manager, so it's okay to trust this guy.
What was that like for you?
It was kind of hard to believe, but exciting. I think now, though, although it was really exciting to have that commission as a very like early or like emerging artist, it was like I wish I could do it again, because I know now that I can do it so much better. And they say, like, as an artist, if you're not embarrassed by the works that you did a year before, you know, that's a good sign.
Yeah, because it means like you're progressing in your skill set, right?
Yeah, I just can't believe, or not can't believe, but I really did the best that I could have at that time. But man, if I had it again, I would do it a lot better.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully there's another chance. Has there been another chance now that you've done a collab?
I'm not sure about another collab with Adidas. I'm not sure about that. But the second time I went to New York was last September, and it was again like doing some projection with breakdancers. So it was very exciting. So all in all, New York is great.
What was the purpose of the projection with breakdancers in the second New York trip?
It was kind of like a local city council kind of commission to highlight the breakers here about and just passing their images again on buildings.
And so the local city council of New York City invited you and like flew you out to go do your art with a bunch of local breakdancers.
Well, this one is actually in Cincinnati and Boston.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
It's kind of like an in-between thing, but a lot of the dancers that were featured, you know, have come from like a direct line of the New York breakdance lineage, and so that was really exciting to work with some people who identified as old school breakers and some people who really identified as like very, very much like new and up and coming with breakdance.
What's
Or
the
just,
difference? Is there like a difference in style?
Yeah, there's a difference in style. Different moves as well. Moves have their times and their places in history. How people view what breakdance is also differs greatly. It's exciting.
In like what ways?
Well, in like ways that they would just find important. So some breakers really do emphasize on storytelling and knowing where your movements came from. So for example, certain foundation steps, this came from the history of breakdancers doing this, or this came as a preventative measure to like certain injuries, and that's why we do this move instead of that move.
What's an example of that?
Well, I need to ask my friend just to make it like make sure I'm getting the details right. But
Okay.
now I've forgotten my line of thought.
So you were saying about how you met, and you were explaining the difference between old school and new school breakdancing styles.
Yeah, that's right. Like again, with breakdance being taught by teacher to student, movements kind of evolve out of each other, and that's why it's important to use breakdancers from the city council that you're projecting onto, because breakdance can form, dialectic differences from one to another. So I think the way that they the biggest way that they just differ from one another is like almost just like accents as well. It's just different styles, flavors, and ways of moving, or even like performing a certain step from other generations.
Yeah, bet. And so when you were in New York, what'd you get up to outside of doing the work?
When I went, it was a festival called October, Architecture October. It was fun. I did some tours there, but
like walking tours.
Yeah, like this building, la 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 la. That building, la 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 la. Yeah. It was fun. I was only there for like a few days though, because my main work was in Boston at that time.
Yep.
But
and the trip before with Adidas though.
Yeah, the Adidas. I was in New York for about 2 weeks for like around that projection installation period. But you do what you do in New York. You do crazy things.
Oh, what kind of crazy things?
Like
did you
coke? No, not really.
You go
like-
to Bushwick,
No, because there was too many people. I was too shy.
Williamsburg.
No, mainly just like Brooklyn and Manhattan.
Yeah,
I had some
Williamsburg
friends.
is Brooklyn.
Yeah, but I haven't been to Williamsburg though.
Where'd you go in Brooklyn then?
Yeah, to get the F train and like the south part of that.
Oh, okay. Bet.
Fun.
Shout out to New York. Did you go to Bottega? Did you get any good sandwiches?
They were good. Yeah. Man, I wish I was more of a foodie as well though, because I was there and I was like, CVS food will do.
No way.
Yeah,
Blasphemy.
it's okay.
What'd you love when you went there?
I had some friends there, so we hung out a bunch, and it's good to hang out with friends there.
Fair.
Yeah. What did you do there? Did you make your millions?
No, well, I was studying, so I just went to heaps and heaps of concerts. I think I went to probably like 40 concerts while I was there. And I got to see like Kanye, Mac Miller, Young Thug, 21 Savage, Schoolboy Q. The list goes on.
That's so exciting.
Oh, it was sick. I loved it.
Wow.
Because I went there. I chose New York because I was like, this is the birthplace of hip-hop, and I love hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either that or like South Africa, just because South Africa is cool.
Nice.
And I went there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Nice. What's the ring that you wear?
Oh, it's like a family crest. So the family, as you like coming of age, you get to wear the ring.
Wow. Do you come from a long history family wise? Like.
Yeah, actually, my grandfather did like a family history thing and like dated back to like the 1300s in Scotland and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they specialize in a certain area?
I don't know. I haven't gone that deep into it, to be honest.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have what's your family heritage?
Well, my last name in the way that it's spelled is Mongolian because we were wealthy enough to be able to afford a yurt, and so in our
What's a yurt?
So those Mongolian tents.
Oh yeah.
So basically, the way that you write my last name is this person owns a yurt, so beware.
So beware.
Yeah.
Beware. We got a yurt.
We have a yurt.
Don't fuck with us.
Yeah. We can survive the winter. Well, I got my lineage is a lot with just like northeastern region where the Mongolian Empire kind of did everything.
So you're full Mongolian.
Not full. Well, it'd be like a mix. Yeah.
between?
Between like Yurchin people who are like the people residing in the northern part of North Korea.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then that lineage of people with Han Chinese, which is the middle central part of China, and then also Mongolian heritage as well.
Wow. Have you been to all these places?
No, but my grandma is Manchurian, and so I think by default Manchurian does like embody all these three aspects of bloodline.
Yeah. Have you been to Mongolia?
No,
Been to China?
I haven't been in a while really because of COVID, and then everything happening there at the moment. Kind of don't want to go there.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
What do you know that's going on there?
I don't know.
No, what do you? Is it a secret?
No, I actually don't know anything that's going on there. I've got a
Okay.
few family members. A few of my family members are there. A lot of my family is in France, but
I bet.
pretty cool. I think they're doing well. I don't think there's been too many complications with following the COVID restrictions that happened
In China?
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend and she's like, when all the protests and stuff were going on because that leader died, yo, it's heavy, like noisy in here. Sorry to the listeners for the like excess noise. Normally we're in the studio, as you know. This is run and gun, so I hope you're still listening and you haven't cut it off because it's too bad, but
Yeah.
fix it as much as we can.
Do you have regular listeners who follow? Yeah, that's so great.
It's cool. What about you? Do you have like, because I noticed you've got like, a solid following growing. What's it been like interacting with that audience of your art lovers?
Well, I've actually made a lot of really great friends through Instagram and through being in the same field of urban media design and installation and projection installation and such. But I'm also quite scared of Instagram because I'm not going to turn my back away from Instagram, but it's mostly the fact that successful ways of marketing yourself as a digital content creator is by showing your face and producing reels and producing very empathetic and consumable content, which I'm very shy with at the moment, so I kind of don't want to film my face.
Yeah, like standing in front of the camera and doing it
like setting
piece
a
to
camera
camera.
up and then being like, this morning I woke up day in the life of an artist who works in tech, stuff like that. I think it'd be fun, but I don't know if I'm the front man for that kind of content.
Fair. Well, you could always do overlay.
That's true.
Like as in like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you could
I
just
do.
talk over it.
That's true.
Because that's how heaps of people do it. They show like cool shit going on, especially with art. Like I always like to think of the ones that go hella viral, like the things with the swinging pots of like, look, the service. Sophie is just doing God's work. Thank you. I don't know if God's work is providing us with liquor, but tonight it is.
Food and wine.
Yeah, there we go. Would you like some popcorn?
I'm okay at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think that's totally a valid point, is that people, we can be very flexible with how we produce content and produce content that people are watching and engaging with, because around 99% of my commissions do come from Instagram, so I'm not going to turn my back away from it. So I think I should maybe like refine what techniques I can use to better advertise myself on there.
Yeah, bet. And do you use TikTok as well?
Not really. TikTok is kind of a little bit more on the back burner. Not really on there at the moment.
How come?
I'll watch stuff. It's fun, but I guess like again, filming yourself and creating content from your activities. I also don't think people would be really interested as well, because I'm gonna just be like at work and then I get home and then I do some stuff. I think it would be nice though. Maybe I should like make some stuff about what it's like to install on the day, because that's important, and how to map on the day as well. That's also important.
Yeah, okay. So it sounds like you're just trying to figure out what your flavor is in terms of content creation to share it out there to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that accurate?
Yeah. I don't know what people want either, because I'm not really like a very outgoing or very just a shy person, that's all.
You're like introverted.
Yeah.
You spend a fair bit of time alone.
I wish I had more time alone. No, not to exclude you. It was just it's good.
I didn't even take it like that, but that's funny. It's like I wish I wasn't fucking here.
I wish you were here. No, I'm good. feel like I've been less introverted now. I was a really, really annoying teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because you just wouldn't hang out with anybody?
I think I just lacked the vocabulary to communicate what I was thinking and like what I wanted or things. You know, personality is predetermined, and the ways that you solve problems is then influenced by your upbringing. So
Yes. I think most of it. What do you think the balance of nature and nurture is?
man, it's hard. It's
Or
hard
like,
to
what's
say.
your vibe check?
I don't know, like 50-50 or something.
50-50?
Yeah, because yeah, I think that we'd be catastrophic as a species if all of our generations that follow us follow the same rules and considerations that we do, because then we would just be cyclical fractal systems that are very susceptible for collapse.
Well, we have collapsed a fair few times. We definitely
Yes.
have done that. But yeah, I reckon, look, I've done a bit of personal development, and anybody that listens regularly would have heard me say that exact same thing, like at least 10 times now. And what I found is like the more you figure out why it is, like what so in the first 7 years of life, you like usually make most of the decisions about like who you are and how you approach life. So you have like a winning formula and you have these different reactions to different things. So like, how do you succeed? Like, is it through charisma? Is it through like being introverted, or is it I'm going to prove everybody, I'm going to prove everybody wrong about me or whatever? And then you act in a certain way according to those like decisions you make about life. And most of those are made by the age of 7. And then you're just like gaining evidence in all these subconscious ways for those decisions you made, usually as an upset little kid. And the more you like go back and start to look at like what are the kind of big patterns in your life, and then you follow the steps back and you do the work to like figure out what was the actual point in time that you made that decision. When you figure that out and then you realize that perception and then the reality aren't necessarily like intertwined. Well, they're not intertwined. Like we have a perception of reality and reality is reality. Like I could go like that, like hit the pillow down, right? And you could be like, oh dude, this dude's fucking angry or he's crazy. But if you just look at it from like a pure sense of reality, it's like pillow, like I picked the pillow up and I put the pillow down. That's what happened. And when you like divide the two, and about things that are like traumatic and stuff like that, you can like get liberated from the perception that you put onto that situation. No matter how justified you are by yourself, society, whatever it is. And when you get to detach from it, you get to then choose like, okay, I can let that go, that perception go, and be like, that's the reality. And then create the possibility of who it is that I want to be for myself in my life, no longer constrained by that, because I know what that thing that was hindering me is or benefiting me. Because at the end of the day, we could be acting in, I don't know, let's say it's charisma as a simple one. It's like I could always try to be charismatic, but there is a threshold in which that doesn't actually serve me. So to be able to have the knowledge of self and know the point in which that is no longer serving me, so then I can put it aside and go, you know what, I'm gonna use an alternative way of being to deal with what's in front of me, as opposed to if I didn't know, then I couldn't have the self-consciousness in like the awareness of self, not self-consciousness, awareness of self, to then be able to choose a different tact in my way of being in the present moment.
Yeah. So as well, like with art making, there's this theory of study that cosmologists have researched and hypothesized that within the first 4 seconds of exposure, someone will apply their understanding of the world to interpret what they're trying to decipher. So like even if you're, I guess, like confronted with a abstract piece of art within the first seconds, and maybe I think that it's sooner than 4 seconds, like maybe even milliseconds, that you see a new experience, you're already trying, and your brain is so good at trying to overcome challenges and create narratives that create, again, understanding. And so within those first 4 seconds is, I guess, a crucial point for, I guess, a narrative to start, or the artist to deliver a narrative to the engager.
Yeah, so it's like your automatic pattern recognition
Yeah.
just gets just happens. Because that is fair. Like, I feel like a lot of people go, like, especially with modern art, because, like, more classical art is, like, painting a situation. And you can, like, go, oh, yeah, I get it. That's the situation. And this is its place in history. And these are the different emotions and situations that they've implanted inside of that and the symbolism and stuff. Whereas people may go with modern art, like, what the fuck's this mean? Very easily. Yeah. So what's, like, I guess, your reaction to that?
Yeah, so that's kind of like a point that I would determine as like legible art and illegible art, because public art, like, or the ways that I'm kind of outletting my art at the moment is public art. And by saying legibility of this art piece, it just means that from initial engaging, or like from initial exposure to an audience, is this work going to, I guess, like invite curiosity to form, or is it going to exclude viewers from feeling like they understand the piece enough to stay around?
Yeah, okay. So you like trying to make it relatable from the get-go.
Yeah, I
to
think
something
so.
that is like a cross-cultural narrative, if you will.
Yeah. That is
Yeah?
my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So inside of that, how do you play with like nostalgia?
I feel like not really at the moment. I'm kind of just playing with movement and even like through animation, the movement of certain things that create a sense of like momentum in the person who views it. So yeah, I don't think I'm playing with that nostalgia at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Do you play with nostalgia?
Oh, look, a little bit. In conversations I do.
Yeah.
I play with nostalgia, like especially with friends and stuff. Like, oh, remember that thing we did?
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
like more of a personalized nostalgia as opposed to like a collective nostalgia. You know, like I'm not referencing Disney movies all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, I guess one of the premises of this series of works as well, the Acts of Holding Dance works that I've made, has been surrounded by, I guess, creating a remembrance or like a holding of the past. Maybe that is where the nostalgia can come in.
What do you mean a holding of the past?
Well, just because the dance is recorded, and at the end of the breakers' dance sets, I can create a script or a print of the whole dance that they had performed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair. I get you. No, that's cool. And then in terms of like, given that you have so many skills around like creating things digitally, is there any other like digital mediums that you want to play with?
That I want to play with so many.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, like stuff that you use to make immersive art, like floor to ceiling LED screens with reflective floors and ceilings. So then you can create like this massive infinity room.
Dude, that sounds
I'll show
sick.
you a render that I did.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm just going to zoom this out a little bit as well.
So here's the immersive
concept
that came up.
Okay, so what I'm looking at now is like that script style in like a monochromatic style, and the floor is reflective. So it's like reflecting of the floor and looks like a waterfall essentially.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. So you made that?
I made that in Blender, so it actually doesn't exist in real life.
Dude.
It's hyper.
Doesn't even need to. There's a person there.
Yeah. And then
and the middle wall is a mirror too.
I made this one as well.
Something
similar.
Fucking hell.
This one has a little, I can see some mistakes in it, but that's okay.
Fair. Well, I mean, you're probably hyper perfectionist about all this, right? Dude, that is so cool. It's mesmerizing. You're like full. This is NFT style heavy, but like it's your own style of it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, I just like, and I was saying this in Nassim last night actually, because she was showing me some cool stuff. I don't know if this is something she wants me to share, so I won't share too much about it. But she got this piece of art. Yeah. It has dancing involved in it. And then I was like, yo, if you were to make this into an NFT, and what you've done there is you have both, like, I guess like you have two versions of movement. Like you have this going on right in front of you and it's still there, but then you're moving this way as well. And when you have those like two movements happening at the same time, I feel for the digital world, it just makes it so much more like immersive.
Right. It took so long to just experiment with the motion of the camera. So the camera is the thing that's like capturing where your eye line is and what that video is showing you, the viewer. But I built this whole scene. There was several characters. You end up only seeing about one character, but I called it a stare gallery, but I think 50% of this work you don't see because it's obscured behind the camera. You're only seeing like a small pan of what it was. And I kind of kept it like that just because every other motion felt too inorganic. This one is simple enough to really allow the user to understand where they're situated in this hypothetical space.
So why do you want to make these things into reality and not just like go heavy on just full digital renders of it?
Well, I'm actually outputting it like this so that I can show potential clients what the works could be installed as and like how they can curate a space so that this effect comes out. Because I have so many ideas in my mind, and to actually make that happen as a high fidelity prototype would just be so outworldly at the moment. It wouldn't exist as a prototype, rather it would kind of jump the gun and exist as like a full installation, and I don't really have that capacity to build this with my own money at the moment. So
Fair.
show it as a hypothetical render for potential clients to maybe be interested in that for their lobby spaces or for any kind of experience space.
I mean, look, if you were just like as an example for the stuff that you have with the floor to ceiling and reflective and all that, I can just like imagine having a really cool like high end function in a space with that going on.
Yeah, it has been invited for certain functions. And it's exciting because there's a sportswear brand that I'm collaborating with called Prunez, and they're launching a new store in Shoreditch in April, and I'm going to be...
Shoreditch, like England?
Yeah, Shoreditch,
I've been there.
London.
We went out.
Wow.
We partied.
Wow. Woo. Wow. Yeah, so that shop's going to be launching in April, and I'll do something like this for them.
Yeah. As in like that
Exciting.
style with the floor to ceiling and reflective.
Probably not floor to ceiling, but definitely projection mapping onto the shopfront space.
Yeah, cool.
It'll be fun.
That's lit. And have you seen, like the NFTs or the digital art where it like goes into like a painting and it keeps going in and in and in and in and in? Like have you thought about doing stuff like that with your style?
Well,
like what other versions of that
yeah.
you vibe with?
So at the moment, my attention is kind of more and more to produce works that are curated for lobby spaces. And I guess like that kind of fractal movement of the artworks hasn't really been my focus at the moment, just because I've been mainly thinking about how the artwork can be outputted as projection on public space or acquired for lobby spaces.
Speaking of lobby space, this is such a noisy space. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. There's a lot of noises going on, isn't there? You hear it as well?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's annoying, but it's okay.
All right, well,
I mean,
apologies.
not annoying. Annoying for the listeners maybe. Not annoying for me. I'm happy to talk over it, but...
yeah, just yell over it. No, okay, so yeah, you're trying to make money, essentially, and you're trying to collaborate with real-world businesses.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
I have nothing against making money. Like, you go, girl.
Yeah,
You make that money.
Man, I had a very good financial year last year, but that's just a way, man. Like, you can make money with art.
It's good to know. Like, artists need to know they can make money.
Yeah, know how to market. Marketability is important, but yeah, definitely know how to sell your works and negotiate the price.
Have you gone about that? Like, what's that been like for you, that process of doing it?
Yeah, so like anyone, it's all a learning process. But lately I have been, I guess, producing a scope of labor as well, including like how long it really takes to make this work, because clients also want to pay you for the, I guess, like the high-end experience that you will bring to them or the product that you'll bring to them. And the thing is, like, these works, I render them on my PC that I built, but that PC is like, if something's rendering on there, I can't render anything else, so it does occupy time and space. Predominantly, if I'm rendering something, I can't then game on it as well, so it's occupying time. So you do have to put like a scope of labor just to say and point out how long it takes to make this work and calculate that.
Are you selling based on hours, or are you just putting that into context for them?
Into context, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Into
cool.
context is important just to understand that these things do take a long time to render out.
Because obviously the Picasso vibe is like, that story of like took him 40 seconds to draw the thing on the
Yeah.
napkin that was perfect, and then she goes, "Why? How can you charge like 10,000 for this or whatever you're trying to charge at the time?" He's like, "Because it took me 30 years to be able to do this in 40 seconds."
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, yeah, you would have spent heaps of time learning how to do this.
Oh, and like in so much time failing as well. But in the design world and design experiences, you got to fail fast and fail often.
I think every discipline that applies. And how have you like gone with overcoming that yourself?
Overcoming failure. Oh,
Yeah.
man, you just don't look at yourself in the mirror for a while and make sure that you practice and be diligent in your practice to the point where you're able to look into your own eyes and say it's going to be okay.
Yeah, okay. So in other words, all right. So sometimes you've avoided. Have you had some days where you're just like, I fucked up, and then you're like, I'm not touching this computer for a week, and then you come back to it and you're like, all right, I still love you though. Come here, computer.
Yeah. It might, yeah, if you have the chance as like any kind of creator, definitely invest in your tools, because the first build that I worked on was like just had 8 gigabytes of RAM, and that took one render would take around 62 hours to finish, and I upgraded that as soon as I had enough money to invest in computer parts, and this is when I built my PC. But it took.
Tell us the specs. What's the specs of your PC?
Thanks. I'm going to upgrade. At the moment, I'm only on 32 gigs of RAM, but I'm going to upgrade that. I can also. I have like a 360 GeForce Raw graphics card. I think that's enough for me. I don't think I need to upgrade that, but I'm on an i7, which is okay. But at the moment, what I'm mostly needing is random access memory space. So I think I might upgrade that soon because I've got the slots for it. But the thing is,
That's why you asked about memory.
yeah. Well, so I started off on an 8 gigabytes of RAM system, and that took 62 hours to render something. But to render the same thing on this PC took 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's wild. That reminds me.
good.
Did you hear about the quad computing? The quantum. That's it. Quantum computing. Did you see that thing about quantum computing?
Well, I didn't really remember, or like, I don't think it got
I'll tell
my
you.
attention.
All right. So essentially, what they've said, what Google came out saying was that what would take the best supercomputer in the world 10,000 years to render, if you will, takes the quantum computer 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Wow,
That's wild,
that's amazing.
right?
Yeah,
It's a lot quicker.
that is a lot quicker. By a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. By like a
Yeah.
lot. So,
Yeah, so invest in your tools when you can.
yes, and social credit system coming to a city near you. All right, that's all right. We get political. Well, I do. I fuck around, find out.
That's okay.
Who knows? I might be blacklisted from China at this point. I don't know. Luckily, I went there in 2019.
You did?
Yeah, I had a good time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I went to like a textile expo because I was looking at doing a clothing brand.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is a lot. I don't think I'm, at the time, was currently cut out to do what it took as a single man band to make a clothing brand.
What do you need? How many men do you need?
I didn't quantify it, but definitely more than one. There's a lot going on. Like, you could do it, but it's like to do it and be good at it and consistently bring out clothes and new designs and stuff. Like, it's a grind.
Yeah, and you can't expect to land on perfection your first try as well. So as a designer, you do need to like iterate and constantly iterate through practice and diligence to your practice to create something.
Exactly.
So.
And
Yeah.
you're good at that.
No, I can be better. I kind of acknowledge in myself that I could be a lot better, but
I mean, that's just the way, though, isn't
the
it?
way it is, yeah.
That's just the way. Like, the way I look at it is like you're gonna do things and get better. But you have to just do life.
Yeah.
You have to do life, and wherever you're at, you gotta say, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I know I'm not gonna love it, but I'm gonna do it because I like it, and then just keep doing it, and it'll be better. Like I went on Sky News a few times. First time, I was internally freaking out.
Oh no.
Like I was like, have forgotten to breathe. Like I literally thought I was gonna like, my brain was gonna explode because I got like a headache instantly. It was wild. But anyway, the next few times I did it, and I'm like calmed down a lot more in terms of just like being on like live TV and stuff. And even after doing like all these podcasts and like actually being on live radio, it was just different for me. So I was like, I'm on TV, and I don't know. I'm like, oh my god,
Do I look okay?
well, I don't know. It wasn't even. There was like no thought. It was just like trying to get it right. And I think that's such a crippling thing for like anybody creating something, whether it be a piece of art, whether it be a performance on live TV, whether it be like running a race. Like that performance anxiety is real,
Yeah.
and it only gets solved through just doing it.
Right, because everything again is relative, you know, like relative experiences that become more and more familiar the more times you do practice it, you know, and you just everything.
Yeah, exactly. You put it very, very acutely just then.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to see you more and more on Sky News. Then.
Well, do you tune into Sky News
Well,
first?
now I will. Like, obviously, I'll like stumble
Fox down.
across it, you know, from flicking. But then, yeah. So I'm excited to see more.
I'm actually pretty keen for my next bit.
Which one's your next bit?
Well, because I think, so have you seen the growing movement about people like wanting to get off grid and just say fuck society, because it's kind of like, it seems like it's crashing around us in so many ways and becoming way more authoritarian in so many ways, whether it be smart cities, whether it be the rise of digital IDs, social credit systems, like looks like the US dollar is going to collapse. Like there's just so much going on that it's like, I want to get out. I want that tradition. And it doesn't mean I need to be like conservative in the old school paradigm of like, oh, I'm angry with how you're doing your life. Like, I don't care how people want to do their life. Like, if you be how you want to be, as long as it doesn't inflict my like physical life, like do what you want to do as an adult. But like, I want to be able to get out and just have like that absolute freedom of like space and time and like be with my friends, be with family, and just like have that peace, and but also like that security of like, you know, whether it be like I've grown my food or my food's grown from eating the grass.
Well, that is like a lot of the favorite types of content that I'm watching at the moment, like in Instagram Reels and in TikTok and stuff. People who are just like more and more living off grid, growing their own food, and like making calcium fertilizer out of bones that they've previously made stock out of, you know.
Are you an off-grid girl? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not, but I like watching people who are.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's so cool.
It's cool. What do you love about it?
Well, like I guess like integration again of the like using every aspect of the animal or the plant that you can, and also just like respecting what you're ingesting through the labor it took you to maybe like, you know, get this source of calories or not. I don't know. It's just very considered and it's nice to watch. You know, even people who are like butchering their own chickens that they raised from the times that they were the eggs or in eggs.
Yeah.
Or as eggs. And then I think that's so cool, you know, confront your food, face on, punch them.
Yeah, it's wholesome. Like, yeah, I'm willing to kill it. I'm willing to raise it.
Yeah, 8 weeks and you can get a fully fledged meat chicken.
Really?
Yeah.
Without like hormone boosters and stuff?
No.
No, like
weeks.
it has to have it?
8 weeks is the recommendation of time it takes to get a good-sized bird.
There you go.
A good-sized bird.
Well, that took you less than 8 minutes.
8 weeks.
What? What?
One photo a day for 8 weeks.
Okay. All right. Oh, fuck it. You're funny. You're very quirky. I tell you that. You are very quirky.
Oh, I disagree.
What do you mean you do? How would you disagree?
I don't want to be like labeled as quirky or anything.
Well, okay, well, how would you label your humour then?
Perfectly normal.
All right, fine. Or you be normal.
Yes.
I'm gonna be weird.
Okay.
I have to accept that I'm a bit of a weird human. That I do things like I don't really take into regard as much as possible. Like this is like a challenge for me to like that I take on is like to say fuck off to the social paradigms that I may be expected to take in a considered manner, like not based on just like doing it because it's different, but doing it things because I've actually thought about like that I fucks with doing this. And a simple, oh my God, what are they doing in this building? Like lumberjacking. Is in a restaurant, right? You go to school and for 13 years you're told to raise your hand for anything that you want or need or have a question about. And then you become an adult and you go to a restaurant and then they say it's rude to raise your hand in the restaurant. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What? Why? Like that doesn't make sense. So I like to think about why I'm doing things as much as possible. And sometimes, I get caught in the way it's done. But I like to, as much as possible, think and be considered about how I'm trying to operate in my life and not just be restricted by, it's just because it's done this way. Because no, that's how Nazi Germany happens on like a mass, big, grim scale.
Yeah.
Is you just go along with this is the way it's done. Like, no, I want to be thoughtful.
Right, and again, like everything is relative, and even the act of genocide occurs in 8 stages, and like 8 stages of gradual decline and like degrading a certain type of human to a not human.
What are these 8 stages?
Well, there's a piece of writing that is called The 8 Stages of Genocide, and you can find it by just Googling it. I'm not remembering so clearly what the 8 stages are, but one of the stages was dehumanizing a human to a certain form of animal. So the Jewish people were called rats by the Germans. And there's another case, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten. But beginning, the message is like things become relative, or things are relative, that certain things do become normalized.
Yeah.
Over time.
Exactly. And do you find as an artist that you challenge, like what do you challenge given that like being an artist, this is my mentality about it, is that like it's your role and as like just an artist to question shit and then put your questioning of whatever it may be, whatever the thing you're trying to question is, into some kind of like expression.
Yeah, well I think so. I feel like, artworks that stand the test of time are the ones that provoke what is currently like socioeconomical things that can be made a comment from, or
Do you think just socioeconomic? I don't think it's just socioeconomic.
no, I don't think
It can be spiritual because like there's things about God, right? And that's not necessarily like
I was just about to do that.
socioeconomical.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah, I saw that you were actually. I just noticed it in your look. You looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it.
But things that challenge.
Challenge what? What are you trying to challenge?
I'm also not a fighter though, Hamish. So like I kind of try to keep my head down as much as possible.
Yeah, but like, what does it mean to be a fighter? Like, I don't think all fights have to be like you're an introvert, right? And we have the internet, so it's like there's heaps of digital warriors that are just like fighting without fighting.
Yeah, I know.
There's no reality to the fight. There's no conflict. It's just like, I'll turn my notifications off.
I'll just turn it off.
Haha, the fight's gone. There's no backlash.
Man, I can't have notifications. Just too much.
But you wouldn't get any kind of criticism, surely. Like,
Well, yeah,
I don't think you're
people
doing
have,
anything
of
to
course.
criticize.
Oh, and then I'll show my face and I'll be like, oh no, you're so mean. And they'll be like, oh no, sweetheart, I don't criticize you anymore.
What kind of criticisms have you gotten?
I have gotten criticism from my works saying that the abstraction of dance takes away from the organicness of that is moving. And so like they think that digitizing dance and recording it in this way, projecting it for mass consumption or even just like mass viewership, just projecting it on like above a highway or something is, I guess, like degrading dance to something that can be commercialized.
That's like saying don't play music when you're in the car on a highway.
Yeah, I know. So I
You
kind
only
of-
must keep it in the opera theatre, I tell you.
I don't know. What would be hypothetically played in a car if playing music outside of the opera was
I'm going to go for the low-hanging fruit here and say engine noise.
music is sinful, and then like on a car, like
I mean, there's so much music over the ages that has been considered sinful. Like Ray
Yeah.
Charles. Do you know Ray Charles?
yeah,
I love Ray Charles. Like it's like
And
a guilt.
his
It's not
many
even guilty.
wives.
I just love it. Yeah, shout out Ray Charles. I got a woman.
and his many wives.
Yes.
I love him so much. Blood.
Just many wives. Shout out to the Mormons.
Do the Mormon communities know that you're shouting out to them
I don't know.
in Victoria?
I
all
think
the
you
way?
should tell them. You should do it. You should do a wall. Shout out to the Mormons.
Shout out to the Mormons. Oh my god. I'd get so much support from the Mormon community.
They would love you. They'd be like, dude, I don't know. They don't have viewership. I don't know, subscribership to our religion has gone up.
Yeah, yay! Through this cute Australian Asian girl all the way in Australia. Woo!
Shout out to the Mormons. I don't even know what they practice. Besides
Breakdance.
that they practice breakdance.
And if they practice breakdance, I would cordially invite them to my studio in which I can make works from their movements.
Mormon breakdancing by Wendy Yu.
That's so exciting.
Let's make it happen. Amish breakdancing. I went when I was in America. They always kept calling me, "Are you Hamish?"
Really?
Because I didn't know the name Hamish.
Oh.
I just didn't know it.
Wait, where were you traveling?
Well, when I studied in New York and like went around and
see.
stuff, I would say my name's Hamish, and they go, "Hamish, is your name Hamish?"
American.
Yeah, they didn't have the name Hamish. Like it's not a common name whatsoever.
Really?
Like it's very England, and then now more, Australian as well.
Oh wow.
But like even here, I've had people go like, "Oh wow, that's not a normal name," but I feel like it isn't that not normal.
I mean, like, yeah, we grew up around Hamish Plague, and that's like a big.
What? What's Hamish Plague?
He's a
Am I a plague?
no. He's a radio presenter.
Maybe in Sydney.
Maybe. Okay.
What's
well,
Stanel? What channel?
I don't know. It's just a.
He made a big impact. We didn't even know what channel it was. He's got a personal brand, but it's not for the radio.
But Hamish is a nice name. Does it come from somewhere else? Because like my name, which is Wendy, is a nickname of a nickname. So Wendy is like the nickname of Gwen, which is the nickname of Gwendolyn. Like
Really?
yeah. So is Hamish a
What?
nickname of a nickname?
I don't know. My mum named me after a horse she had.
Oh, women who love horses is beautiful.
Yeah.
Or people who love horses. They'll never love
Well, it does
anything
tend. It's
more.
definitely more predominantly women.
Well,
I will say that. I know that actually because, well, in the Australian or South Australian community, my auntie, she loves fucking horses. She loves them. And then she says, on the terms of the competition level of things, it's like 90% women. And then what you find in the top level competition, it tends to be the men that make it to like and this is for high jumping. Like when they jump real high over like a course and stuff, it just tends to be mostly men because the men get to the point where the horses jump higher on average.
Really? I wonder why.
Look, from what I have heard, it's because men are historically historically more prone to taking risk.
Okay, no, this is really funny because, like, proportionally, the number of offsprings that are birthed by women, there are a bit, like, there's just a few percentages, increments more males born to women than females. But by the times that these next generation babies become or enter an age of sexual maturity, because the men are more daring and the boys are more daring, there becomes, I guess, like more of an equilibrium in the range of people to pair up and copulate once more. Just because men have an instinctual desire to kill themselves. And
To kill themselves.
well, no, in very daring ways. Also, can you
Oh,
imagine?
right. Yeah. Well, dude, I'm that. Like, I am a fucking daredevil.
But
Oh
also,
my, that sounds so cringe. Anyway, I am though. Like, I've jumped out of planes, jumped off bridges. Like, I do mountain bike riding, snowboarding.
nice.
Like,
I got this scar
Adrenaline.
from e-scooting.
yo, did you drop off some stairs or something, or you just hit a curb?
It's just adjusting my sunglasses.
Oh
and
no! You couldn't do the one hand.
Yeah, in
You're
a very
it failed.
very bougie city girl kind of way.
Yep. No.
But also, like, can you imagine the amount of fermented foods that we get just because someone dared someone else to try it? Like a soggy piece of like wheat porridge. Someone was like, "I dare you to bake it and eat it," and now we have bread.
Dude, that so would have been how it happened.
Yeah, and like the thing is, we don't really record the amount of people who died of incorrect fermentation processes.
True. We do not do that. All right. By the way, we don't have much battery left, so we got to end it soon, but not yet.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the Wendy Yu show.
That's it. It's the Wendy Yu show. And what's your voyage? But yeah, in terms of like I guess the differences of what we're talking about between masculine and feminine energy and its capacity to be more daring. And now we're talking about how food was even like figured out how to be fermented because
one more poetic analogy of like fermented foods. This was told by a nun who I watched in a documentary. She was saying like the processes and like what you get out of fermented foods is such a metaphoric interpretation of what you will get out of life because there is so much flavor that you unlock through death or there's so much more experiences that you will unlock through death, and so that's just an indicator that you shouldn't fear death itself because like fermented foods flavor comes from
death,
degrading and like rotting things.
Yeah, well, I mean wine, right?
Yeah.
Like what we're drinking right now, like that had to ferment for a long time.
Yeah, and it had to die as well.
Yeah, it's dead to be alive in a different way. What is death?
Beautiful.
Do our souls pass on?
So, Terry Pratchett, did you ever read Terry Pratchett?
No.
When he died, it was stipulated in his will that he wanted all of his hard drives, which he had. He was a writer, and he was like a prolific writer of young adult fiction. And so he had all of his material, his hard drives, and in his death, he requested that they be run over by a bulldozer. I was thinking about that when you were setting up as like, what would I do with like my digital materiality that remains on this earth? Because people say that projection art is great because it embodies a sense of dematerialization. Like it doesn't really exist after it's done. It's like existing in the moment.
Yeah,
but
you
obviously,
flick the off switch and it's gone.
Yeah, obviously people take pictures, they upload it, and that creates a presence on the world or in the world. But what would happen with my hard drives? With my hard drives and me when I die? What would happen with your hard drives when you die? What do you think?
Let it out. I'm dead.
I'm dead.
Who knows? It could be, fuck knows. It could be the Marcus Aurelius of the future. I don't know. Depends how life goes. I do want to be on this planet and change the course of history in a significant way because I was alive. That's the overarching big goal I have, and in a positive way.
That's a good goal.
So yeah, I'm happy to just let it out and be transparent, and that's why I'm doing. Like, it's part of the reason doing a podcast. Like sometimes it is confrontational to be, like, to knowingly be, like, pretty damn transparent. Like the fact that I'm like having conversations and sharing shit that, I'm sharing with strangers.
Right.
It can be confrontational, but I go, you know what? I hope that I'm having a greater act of service than not, because I think people can learn things from me, and not to say that I'm like better than people, but like, I have perspectives that I've thought about.
As that as well, like, do you receive criticism or?
No, I'm hoping to get a little more, to be honest. So if you don't like me, let me know. They say that you need like 15% haters. Yeah. So then the 75% of your followers or people that are loyal can then stand up for you, and then you'll grow.
That's nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It does make sense. So haters, I'm okay with it. I get it's a part of the natural ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all right.
Can't have too much of a good thing. You have to have a balance, which is good.
I mean, look, history. I mean, look, I think Michael Jackson was too loved, right? I don't agree, but he was too loved, and now he's getting his fair share of hate.
Right.
But
But it's ignorant. No.
I fucking love Michael. Fuck
no.
that shit. I love Michael Jackson. He's my favorite. He's my favorite artist of all time.
That's great. He was the swingingest Jackson.
Who's your favorite artist? And cross mediums.
Wow.
Or like, who's your top 5, dead or alive?
There's this Ukrainian guy. You should find him just so I like make sure I'm pronouncing it right. But he makes like 3D art that is so experiential, and they're just massive, and they like engulf you in experience. You know Ryo Chiyoda as well? He's one of my favorite.
Ryo Chiyoda.
Yeah.
No, I don't know Ryo Chiyoda.
Well, he bases a lot of his works on cosmology and space, and he does a lot of work through creative coding. And he builds these immersive, like massive works that fill out LED screens that are like 100-meter long LED screens. And you go into like an immersive experience by him, and he designs the sounds as well. But he designs like sounds that are just so like bone shattering.
Dude, that's 100-meter LED screens.
Yeah, this one is in the ICC Centre in Sydney.
We have 100-meter LED screens in Sydney?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
actually it's cool. It's
huge.
at a place. It's called Dancers Alley, and this was really really interesting because when the new ICC conference, International
What is
Centre,
ICC?
International Conference Centre of Sydney, there were some reflective surfaces, and what was found was that a lot of dance groups started to practice street dance and hip hop and like different types of dancing in front of these reflective surfaces, and so this alley was then redubbed Dancers Alley just because it just congregated so many people who practiced street
Yeah,
dance.
because they could like suss themselves out while they're dancing
Yeah,
and like
and-
work on the technique solo.
Yeah, I remember when
I do
walked
that in the
past it.
shower. It's good. Works
Imagine
well.
if a shower was the size of ICC, like the alleyway, 100-meter long shower.
Everybody's
Nice.
dance techniques would be better.
Communal bathing is so beautiful, so nice. Communal grooming.
Yeah, like Budapest, I went to like the baths over there and did that. It was cool.
I went to Japan recently, and I went to an onsen. And
It's an onsen.
onsen is like a bathhouse or like like natural mineral pools of water that you kind of like can sit and bathe in.
And they're like spas. Like,
Kind of.
are they hot? Cold?
Yeah, like a hot pool.
Yeah, yeah. So similar to Budapest, like the thermal baths.
Yeah. They've got minerals in them. They're good for your body to absorb.
Yeah, but wait, what?
Yeah, they were just good.
What kind of minerals?
Like magnesium.
True.
Stuff.
True.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Was it like
My naked body. Oh no.
everybody was naked?
Yeah, and
That's
they call
cool.
it naked friendships as well because once you're naked and bathing together, you just can't tell what economic class they belong to. Or
Breaker. We're about to do a heist in this building, I tell you.
oh my god. I love heist movies.
Dude, have you seen Money Heist?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
So fun.
So good.
And it's like you watch something like Ocean's 11 or something, and you're like, "There's so many flaws in this plan, but I still love it."
Oh, legit. I'll go along with it. You could be caught at this stage or this stage or this stage. You're not good heist.
But you didn't.
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, Hollywood! Yay! Brad Pitt. Wow.
Dude, Brad Pitt's got good movies. I feel like Brad Pitt is like, he's in a lot of movies now, but like his 90s movies, it makes sense why he keeps getting more movies.
Right.
Because his movies in the 90s, so good.
Both my parents are actors, and they went to like school to be an actor. My grandma was an actor as well, and my mum was saying that like Brad
Hollywood?
Pitt, no, like Chinese cinematic history.
Bet.
But my mum was saying like Brad Pitt, you know what he does really well is he attracts the camera. So even if the camera is filming him from behind, he's like moving his face so that the camera can get his like profile silhouette, and therefore the viewers of the scene are still attracted to looking at him, and that's like such a. She was saying, or my mum was saying that this is like a technique or a way that even just like backup characters can just do to like really just like force the camera to land on their face and stay on their face for a bit longer.
No kidding. All right, so that's what you need to do in your TikTok reels.
Oh my gosh, I don't want
You start doing from behind, but like just like moving your head a little bit, so they're like, oh, I see the profile, but like you don't have to like be in front of the camera. You're like in front of it, but it's the behind.
Oh, that's so tease. My God, only fans can see my own face, like my whole face.
It's happening. I've seen some of those like Instagrams where like an OnlyFans girl will like have the phone in front of her face every single time just on an Instagram feed.
Really?
As you like scroll through, I'm not like actively looking at OnlyFans. I subscribe to no OnlyFans for the record. Will
it's
not.
Bad.
Don't want it.
Support your community.
Nah, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. It's degradation of society. Shout out to those women getting their money, but like
they make a lot of money.
They can. Some do, but some just show their body, get not much, and then feel embarrassed for the rest of their lives. I mean, to be fair, like it used to be like a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't agree with necessarily over sexualization of just like everyday humans.
Yeah, I guess so. But there's so much lucrative market for it. Like someone is willing to pay.
Get your money.
My feet.
Get your money. And feet, it'd be different because it's like, all right, you want to wake to my feet? Fucking go ahead.
Well, yeah.
It's feet, whatever. I don't know. I'm a little more conservative in that fashion.
That's okay. Do whatever you want, man.
I'm just not going to marry that.
That's okay.
Yeah, but you can do it. You're an adult. If, shout out to the OnlyFans people.
I'm not even on like TikTok or anything. I'm definitely not going. I'm too shy.
Fair. However, there is a lot of women that are like that vain, not to say vain, but like that vein of human that is shy but still does all that.
That's true.
Who knows? I'm not trying to convince you. But it is a fact.
Well, I'm trying to buy a house. Not really, but how do I make money fast? Why are you laughing, Hamish? Amish? What's wrong? I'm just going to film.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Here, smile. It's loading. Camera's loading. Sorry, it's very... still loading.
Oh, but fast. It's rendering.
I've missed the moment.
You've missed the moment. Anyway, it's all right. It's recorded on a different camera. The whole thing.
Yay. Have you now?
Well, yeah, that one.
Don't worry, I got it.
All right, fine. You got it. Shout outs. So, yeah.
I actually would love to...
Start an OnlyFans.
Well, I want to buy a drone.
What's that got to do with OnlyFans? Or are you just segueing?
Segueing, or like maybe I can get some money to buy a drone with an OnlyFans account. But projections and drone footage, amazing.
True.
I once did this installation on the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, and it was like you can't film the like the
Self bang, that little spice of the story, you know. Central Bank of America, what up?
just the Federal.
It was a Wednesday.
Oh, just as you do. And you weren't allowed to. Well, I wasn't allowed to take photos of the rooftop, or it's a security risk. But if you have your drone and like film it from certain angles, then you can.
Yeah. The heist.
Yes.
So it comes back to the heist.
If you were in a heist environment, or like people who could help you crack into any kind of mainframe, what would you like to steal?
What would I like to steal? Oh.
I mean, it can be money. If you choose money, I have a follow-up question for you.
Look, I mean, money's tempting, but I don't feel like you'd want money as money. Like you'd want money as a material thing. So like gold would be better than money.
I understand.
But because they could be like, haha, you stole all our reserves. You've crashed our dollar. It's worth nothing.
It's worth nothing. Okay.
But I think information. Like, I think information would be the thing to, like, gather.
Wow, so Odin gave up an eye for wisdom. Would you give up an eye for wisdom.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I do want my eyes, so I'd rather give up nothing.
Can you imagine his depth perception as well? Like punching someone and misses.
Luckily, I'm not cruising on the daily,
Right.
getting in fights.
Oh, well, you know, it was different back in Norse times.
Some verbal jousts, I will say. Some verbal jousts.
So again, if you were given just $1 million, but you couldn't invest, what would you buy, or how would you use up that money? And you only had it for one day as well.
One day. Phew, it's a fun question. I mean, what do you mean you couldn't invest? Like, there's so many things you could like not invest in that are investments. Like,
Well,
you get some
yeah.
great watches.
Well, then that's
You get some great watches going. I mean, you wouldn't want to go to a place because most of your time would be going there.
That kind of question. I don't want to that question does push you to think creatively. For example, personally, I would buy gold, right, and then you can trade it the next day.
But that's an investment.
Yeah, but investing not in the
I will buy the comet.
I will
Bring it to
buy-
me.
the gold, something that it will appreciate.
Did you know
in
that a
value.
comet has like,
Or an Hermes bag?
huh?
I'd buy an Hermes bag, but then you have to be invited to buy one, and I don't think you can
Then you gotta
achieve
wait.
that in
Then you gotta
a
wait.
day.
Oh, well, look, depends. If you're paying $1 million for the one bag, maybe they would say, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck the wait list. You're paying $1 million for a $20,000 bag. Let's go.
Upfront. yeah,
They'd fly it to you, maybe.
maybe. Yeah,
So you got one day.
you only have one day.
I'm on the phone to the global marketing manager. Give me the bag. I need Northwest to paint it.
North to paint. Did you see that TikTok when North is makeup, has makeup on and looks like Kanye, and Kim's at the background still doing like Bound 2?
I didn't see the original. I saw an article about it and was like, why are people even upset about fucking Kanye's daughter playing Kanye? Like,
It's great. It's funny.
yeah, I'm sure it would be. But like, why would people be upset about Kanye's daughter mimicking Kanye? It's like, it's 50% Kanye.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, idiots.
that's
Some silly people.
funny. So silly.
Who would you love to collaborate with inside of the digital art world?
Right.
And what have you seen collaborations look like in the digital art world?
That's interesting. Well, art is a market, right? So you go on Instagram and you can't go on Instagram without seeing another Rafik and or work, the Turkish artist who makes these massive installations of visualized data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just a little quiet, so I just turned it up a bit.
I'm sorry. But I think that would be my dream collaboration, just because he has attracted such a market of people who are interested in buying his works. Like, his works as NFTs sell for millions of dollars.
What's his art like?
Pretty sure you would have seen him. Like, he's very popular at the moment.
I feel like our feeds are different.
Yeah, I guess so. I have to acknowledge that my feed is not what the world sees.
It's chickens and their gestation periods
8 weeks.
and artists.
His works are like this.
Oh my god. That's fucking wild. It's like a mountainous region that's like fluid in motion like you would see the ocean.
Fluid in motion like you would see the ocean.
And now it's turning to like the glaciers like fluid in motion like the ocean. That's pretty wild.
That's pretty cool. Look at my stickers.
What do you mean, look at your stick? Oh, in the back of your phone?
They're so cute.
That's so your style of expression.
Indifference.
Yeah.
Apathy.
No, just like that. That thing. It's
Like
like
the
that
cat.
vibe.
The cat is being eaten by the shark, but it's like, don't worry, just accept your fate. Everything's okay.
It's okay, I did mushrooms. It's
It's
okay. I get it, I'll be back.
it's okay.
I didn't really go anywhere. I just don't remember this lifetime while I'm living it.
Just go with the flow, man. No problems. Just be quiet and enjoy.
What do you think happens after we die?
Everything. Well,
What do you mean,
don't be too
everything?
eager. You know the egg theory? You know the egg.
What, the chicken or the egg?
Well, the egg theory, the story of the egg is that once people do die, they have a brief introduction with their creator, and their creator reveals to themselves that they are in gestation at the moment, and so you're going to be reincarnated to a person, disregarding when the lineage of time is. So you can be reincarnated as someone in time that existed before you had died, so back in time. And what this gestation period is that God is training you as an infant of one of its own to fully mature into a point where you have lived every life in this world. So you and I are the same facet of soul, or like part of the soul, and I guess like our understanding of what it is to be alive needs to be gestated in this world so that we understand every possibility of human experience.
I have heard this theory, actually. I have heard this. And I fucking love it. And it's just so like oneness, togetherness, but on like a like exemplary manner in terms of like, well, if I've already lived, like there is a level of which letting go, forgiveness, love, and all that can just like transcend beyond like time and space, in the sense of like, well, I've been everyone. I've been Hitler, and I've been JFK. I've been
Everywhere.
You've been it all. Like I've been the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Been that grain of sand.
You have, and
Like, and not necessarily that I'm sentient as that grain of sand. Not sure, doubt it. But my soul has lived a whole, I don't know, period of time, if you will,
yeah,
as a grain of sand.
right, yeah.
But I have been told. Do you believe in like psychics and like? I mean, you obviously believe in past lives if you're espousing these theories.
Well, just espousing them and mentioning them. Sometimes it's nice to listen to like readings or like things, because it's like it's nice to have someone dedicate their spare time towards you. So it's like my Scorpios, and you're like, oh, okay, I can be your Scorpio. Just take care of me, okay? Talk about how I'm the best.
Tell me how wonderful I am.
Tell me how wonderful I am. Great. Sometimes it's a nice service.
I love it. Look, am I a narcissist? If that's the case, I'll be okay. Fine. Call me what you want.
Measurement of narcissist becomes like how much you love hearing about your star sign.
You know my Mars. Oh my God!
Do you know what Mars ascending I am? You would, wouldn't you?
Can you guess it?
Can you guess?
Take the time. That's okay.
What are you? What are you? I don't.
You're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think I am?
I don't know.
Wait.
I'm not really so into it. Sometimes I just listen to it as a form of like self-reassurance. It's going to be okay. She says it's going to be okay.
Do you have co-star?
What's that?
You don't know what co-star is?
No.
Dude, that's the most happening place of the astrology world, I tell you.
Is it not NFTs?
It's not NFTs, not yet. You could make it into an NFT, though. I'm sure you could find a way. If there's anybody that's going to find a way, you are among the several thousand that could.
It feels like a very backhanded compliment, really.
A little bit, but there is only a few thousand. At least you're not everybody.
Oh, what is it?
So it is powered by NASA, like data or something like that, of the astrological data, I believe, and you put your time, date of birth, whatnot, and it will give you your full like star chart. And the cool thing is you can add people on it, and then it will give you like a full compatibility report based on each of your star signs, based on like the same planets.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, your sun risings are happy face, sad face, or okay. And then we'll give you a description, and then we'll do it for each of the planets in our solar system.
Oh, that's really cool. It's fun.
It's fun. It is fun.
I love relationships. They're so tragic, but so great to experience. But
shout out to Shakespeare.
Amy Tan, who is an American Asian writer, and she wrote the book The Joy Luck Club, which is like guess like a well-known piece by now. But she used to work for like I forgot which specific one it was, but she used to work as a writer for a newspaper publishing entity, and she would just make up the astrology.
Wasn't a soul
information.
trader.
No, I don't think she was, but she would just make it up.
She just make up the
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, that's classic.
So
She's getting
funny.
paid.
And she's getting paid. Yeah.
Good on her.
But yes,
on her.
relationships, very fun. Different wrong times and all the oscillations of time and your existence in it is very
Do you believe in
interesting.
like a true love?
No.
What do you believe in around the subject of love?
I believe in companionship. So it's like companionship in this phase of your life, or like this moment where your understanding of the world is X, Y, Z. It's nice to have companionship in later age. I'm not really so strict on the fact that my companion in later age needs to be like purely celibate to me. That is my view. What about you?
Look, I've definitely thought about the different styles. Like obviously there's polygamy, there's monogamy, there's probably other amies.
There's polyandry where it's the woman who takes on multiple husbands, but
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not
It's-
about that. I'm definitely not about that shit.
interestingly, like
It's terrible.
polyandry is practiced by the like people who live in the mountainous ranges of Tibet and Nepal, and it's basically where one female marries into a family of all of the brothers.
Oh
so
my
you will have one wife shared between you and your brothers, and you are all considered the father of her children.
No way. That is fucking wild.
It's
Are
a
you
way
kidding
to-
me?
I'm not. It's a
Shit.
way to conserve resources and to mitigate the dispute of land.
They must be proper poor.
Well,
Fuck
I'm not
that.
going to say that, but you can assume.
Tell my lord. Fuck that.
Polyandry.
That's hectic. Okay, yeah. Look, I like the idea of monogamy. I get that it has its ups and downs, its challenges. I also think there's spiritual growth in like the discipline that it takes and going through those stages of ups and downs and actually like being able to work it out, and the discipline of like having that be functional and like re-falling in love and that kind of thing. Like that is like a beautiful experience in its own. I get polygamy. In that like we are capable of loving more than one person, because we definitely are, and we're definitely more than capable that having physical interaction with more than one person at one time. And it's like, all right, in terms of spiritually, what's the best for like my trajectory in life of, you know, what I'm here to do, what's the best
Yeah,
outfit? I'm not
so-
sure. I have to figure that out. I'm currently
I
not in it.
would consider myself like having a few mentors in the art world, and a few of them who have children. You know, like what's it like raising a child whilst you're an artist and want to do residencies or international residencies and such, and it becomes a lot more difficult for artists to raise children whilst going on international residencies. So like, yeah, in that
Makes
case-
sense. It's hard to do any career
Yeah,
where
that's
you
true.
have to be somewhere else.
Yeah, and I feel like I was going to raise that point to slot into what you were saying before, but I kind of forgot the train of thought.
You're talking about international residencies and what it is like as a woman to raise kids, and you were saying your mentors said
Yeah,
something.
about the difficulties of like raising kids during residencies. I guess
Hold
yeah.
hold it a little closer because you're rather quiet.
Yeah. Maybe we can move on from the thought because I've forgotten how it slots into your previous
Yeah,
statement.
okay, no worries. Yeah, so it's one of those things that there's no necessarily right way to do life in terms of like what is the absolute right, because I think morality is in large part a social construct, but has become a social construct for like legitimate reasons of progression and like technological society building traits that seem to work over long periods of time. Hence why you have like certain religions prosper over time and others die out, is because as a tool for technology and civilization building, they just work in terms of a longevity standard, and the ones that don't, well, they've died. So that's why like Judaism, while you look at it in our modern way of thinking, and looking at life like, oh my God, that's so constrained, da 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 da. But it's like their societies still work, prosper, function on like most levels of indicators, if you will, of survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And also, like, it's another challenge as well when you're adapting to generations that, I guess, come from these kinds of conflicts. So, for example, like in China at the moment, there is, I guess, an interesting area of discussion, which is that the Chinese people have always embraced Confucianism and the values that are indicated through this method of belief. But then, how are we going to apply Confucianism to modern ways of living? You know, possibly like non-monogamous relationships. Like, how do you apply Confucianism to them? And Confucianism is a lot to do with son respecting father, daughter respecting mother, daughter respecting husband, or like systems of respect in that way. And I guess
Shout out to Confucianism.
he is you, and he's like my boy,
Oh, my guy.
my guy. I'm long gone, but my guy here. Yeah, so it's an interesting area of study. It really does like bring into attention other factors within sociability, such as the formation of groups of people called the leftover women, who are women over the age of 27 who are left unmarried. And these include women who are, I guess, like focused on their careers and also like, very independent financially, who aren't really necessarily finding or wanting to find like a monogamous partner for financial.
Procreation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's big in Japan.
Yeah. The doomsday clock for Japan ever ticks.
Oh, yo. Isn't that wild that there are actual societies that are like depopulating themselves?
Right, yeah. But
Have you heard of the rat experiment?
Which one? There's so many.
Fair, fair. So there was one that they created this, like, I think it was rats or mouse. They use mouse, right? And it was a mouse experiment where they created like the perfect mouse colony habitat going on. And they found after, was it 150 days or 350 days, either or, that it was like they could pinpoint, and they did this experiment multiple times, the point in time in which the social fabric of the mouse colony would break down, and then over time, from that pinpoint time, and it would happen at the same point in time in these kind of like utopian mouse societies, that procreation would stop because survival was not a matter. So then you had all these social constructs that like overtook the need for procreation, and then the distance between men and women just got greater and greater in the mouse. And then they actually died out because of that.
It's so funny because, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, I do, girl. I did Bachelor of Business, Major Marketing.
I feel like if these
every class.
mice were humans, they're like indulging in art. And you can only indulge in art once you have food, water, shelter, all sorted out.
Oh, hell yeah. You need a level of stability for sure.
Yeah. And so all of these mice, they're like artists, philosophers, and they're like, you know what? Fucking is not for me.
Yeah, right? Because like it's a necessity. Like if we really look at it, like for civilization building, it is a necessity just as much as water.
Right. And also remembering again, like evolution and nature doesn't really care about what you choose to spend your recreational time doing. It really only cares about you if you do procreate.
Yeah, from that like Charles Dickens point of view of like evolution theory, yes. Yeah. That's where we're a little different because we fuck for fun.
I know, so fun.
We're one of those weird species.
Yeah.
Shout out to the dolphins.
Shout out
they
to
get us. You're about to say some weird animal, aren't you? You're about to say some real weird insect or something.
The apes that are in that genus of like monkeys that have recreational copulation.
Alrighty. I don't know what they are.
I'm really like
I think it's human Homo sapien. Did you know there was like over 13 types of Homo.
Right, yeah, and Homo
Sapien.
sapiens bred with Neanderthals. That's because, like, and we find that out because we share the same pubic lice as Neanderthals.
Is that how we found out?
Well, a large
Pubic lice
reason
is how we
why
found. What the
found out.
fuck?
So we were nesting with Neanderthals and bedding them, and we share similar pubic lice.
That's such a random way to find out.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Funny. Okay. They got crabs too.
I'll give you your crab. You give me mine. We can share.
Our crabs are not the same.
No, they're the same man. You and me.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Very
So
fun.
shout outs to our other human type people. We killed them all though. Isn't that
Pubic
wild?
lice or Neanderthals.
Well, no, there was
homos, right?
just homos, and not in the sexual orientation of sucking dick, but in the orientation of human types.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's
Just
interesting.
cause for correction, in case you're wondering.
History is amazing.
Michael Jackson. Alrighty. Thank you for listening to Watch Your Voyage. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we
So many things. It's only like a very small encapsulation of everything that I want to express through sound, word, excrement, and tears. Everything.
we'll see if we can get the video of the excrement flying around later as a forms of communication?
I need to express. That's my art.
Oh Lord, that actually is that people's art? Have
Well,
you
I
ever
mean-
seen an exhibit about someone's excrement?
Don't doubt that there aren't those existences.
Like all that I say is I hope it's in perspex, like a perspex box.
Oh, fun.
Well, it would smell otherwise. It'd
Yeah.
not be a pleasant experience to go suss out the art, but that could be part of it, right?
I don't know anything.
I
about
only
it.
ate pineapples for 28 days.
Oh my gosh. Everything.
Oh, this is the pineapple excrement exhibition. I don't know why I'm doing like a German voice, but I feel like there's some shit the Germans would do.
No, I feel like pineapple affects the taste of different types of excrement, not the brown stuff that we're talking about.
I know what you're saying. Yes,
Fiber, kale,
I've heard this.
hard, leafy, and dark green legumes.
Alrighty, you're a very fun person. Good on you.
And I'm not sure if it portrayed enough, like, what's the populace of your viewers?
What's the populace? They're mostly men, to be honest.
That's okay.
Yeah. They're mostly men. Shout outs to the dudes that listen to this. And, there are some women. Shout outs to you too. Shout outs to the guys as well.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for doing this very spontaneous talk.
Nah, no worries. Honestly, Wendy Yu, check her out on the socials. Could you explain or say the words of your social media again so people can find you?
I guess my largest point of congregation is Instagram. In Instagram, it's Wendell's Mind Blowers.
Wendell's
Mind Blowers.
Mind Blowers.
But my name is also Wendy. It's hard.
You said you could handle your alcohol, but I think this is the...
No, I can.
They might have a cause for concern.
No, I'm fine. I can drive.
No, good stuff. All right, so that's where you can find Wendy Yu. She's got exciting things. I'm sure she has some wild collaborations in the future and some other stories to share in her art and on other podcasts. So follow her journey. She's a cool chick, as you have found, that I've found. So
Podcasts are fun.
They are
This
fun.
has been a really nice podcast and
thank you.
discussion to have.
Yes, it's good fun. All righty, thanks for listening. Peace out.